Of course, Memorial Day weekend is here, and nobody does it better than one of the crown jewels of the entire Midwest, and that is the National World War I Museum and Memorial right here in town. The president is Dr. Matt Naylor, joining us on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. Matt, thanks for joining us on KCMO. We always appreciate the time as you get set to kick off this Memorial Day weekend. What's going on down there at the museum and Memorial?
Yeah, well, again, it's going to be a fantastic weekend where we honor those who served and lost their lives in service. Really important weekend for us right across the nation. And here in Kansas City, as you say, you know, we're really the epicenter of the region where we are able to do that work. So lots happening. I think it's going to be an exciting weekend.
What do you got coming up here that people need to be aware of, should be aware of, as you set to, honor and memorialize those who did sacrifice it all?
Well, first and foremost, we want to provide admission at no cost for our veterans and active duty personnel. So from today right through till end of Monday, no cost. For everybody else, it's half price. So that's a great beginning. And then we got all sorts of activities through the weekend. Notably on Monday at 10 a.m. we have a ceremony. Then tolling the bell at 12. We're dedicating a new walk of honor. We've done fabulous renovations and routine maintenance on the memorial over these last numbers of months and replaced our walk of honor, and we'll be dedicating that on Monday. It's beautiful. Through the weekend, we've got a brand new exhibition, which is up for a while now, called Sacred Service, and it's about the role of chaplains in World War I. And it's a fascinating story, an untold story. And we're using lots of objects that we've borrowed, as well as so many from our own collection that tells really an unknown story about sacrifice and service and faith in World War I.
That is incredible. Now, you guys also, for those who maybe haven't been in a couple of years that need to get back down there, the museum has gone over a makeover here the last, year, 18 months or so? I mean, I was there last summer, and the new exhibits are tremendous. For people who haven't been here, we take it for granted sometimes being right in town. What are they missing out on?
Yeah, we're one of the world's great museums, and we want to keep it one of the world's great museums. So as you've said, over the last 12 to 18 months, we've been in a phased refresh of our main galleries and other areas of the museum. We just opened phase 3, new trenches, new film, about 11 new interactives, a whole big open storage area. If you haven't been for a while, now's the time to come and have a look at the changes. You'll find them really to be quite fabulous. And for those who haven't been, don't be bashful. Come on down and see it. It really is one of the world's great museums, and these changes are wonderful. And on the outside, the whole memorial's been cleaned. We've recorked it, and all that's part of routine maintenance to ensure that we keep honoring for centuries to come the sacrifice and service of those who gave their lives.
What is something, when I went through the museum last year, it does feel like World War I, obviously, for a multitude of reasons, just doesn't get the attention of some of the other major American wars. But when you think about how it laid the foundation for this country into World War II, if you talk to people, Dr. Matt Naylor, what is the thing about World War I in particular that probably gets most overlooked when we look back on this nation's history in the 100-plus years since then?
Sure. The U.S. was largely an isolationist country leading into World War I, and it came out as a military and financial powerhouse. Mm-hmm. It really began the American century. It transformed the U.S. role in the world. And then right across the globe, it led to all sorts of experiments in democracy following the war. And that's because of the empires that were there. Many went away or fell apart post-World War I. And so there are, from those countries that were part of the empires, now about 160 independent nations in some form. So World War I spawned experiments in democracy. That's the reason why Wilson said the U.S. needs to be involved. He said, to help make the world safe for democracy. And so, we link to those sorts of themes too. And at a time like Memorial Day, where we're honoring the sacrifice of those who were willing to give their blood, we remember that it's for the cause of democracy. And, that was a turning point for the world coming out of World War I.
So true. Dr. Matt Naylor on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. And it was, by the way, one of those things, it was a tough pitch for the president and, of course, the government at the time to sell the American people on getting into that war. And it took some effort to basically sell the American people and Congress on that at the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Wilson his campaign slogan for the 1916 election was "He kept us out of the war," and then it was in April the 2nd in 17, just 4 months later, that he went to Congress and said, "No, actually, we really need to be involved." And the U.S. Army was during that time was about 100,000, and then within a short time they built the army to then over more than 4.5 million. An extraordinary effort. In order to be able to then help the Allies have victory, an exceptional moment in world history. And just logistically, we tell that story logistically. How do you do that? How do you have enough socks? How do you have enough helmets? How do you have enough, uniforms? And it was an all-out effort of the people of the United States to support this catastrophic war, which had been locked down in Europe and the Middle East for, then 4 years.
Well said. All right. How early should people get there for celebration at the station on Monday?
Yeah, I tell you, we're so excited on Sunday evening to be co-hosting celebration at the station. It's one of those great community events. The show on stage begins at about 7. The formal concert begins at 8. I know that people are going to be out picnicking beforehand. We certainly welcome people on the grounds to enjoy that. It's we're the gathering place of Kansas City's front porch. And so Memorial Day weekend, it was celebration at the station on Sunday night, and then a full host of activities at the Museum of Memorial on Monday. It's a great time to enjoy his family and also give our respect to those who serve.
Sunday night, 5 o'clock is the start time. Dr. Matt Naylor on KCMO. Matt, thank you as always for the time. We really appreciate it.
You bet. We're looking forward to a great weekend.
There you go. Dr. Matt Naylor, the president of the National World War I Museum and Memorial, right here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM.